Hey there, it's Huck. We're doing something a little bit different for the Crackling. We're here in Perth, taking you behind the scenes of Perth Porkstars 2022 with chefs Melissa Palinkas, Hayter and Guy Jeffreys. Melissa,
hey,
how are you?
I'm good, I'm great.
What's it like doing an event like this? You normally cook for consumers.
Yep.
What's it like cooking for industry?
It's probably the most fun thing you could ever actually do because you know that you can feed them whatever you want and they'll appreciate it. And especially at these events like PorkStar, all your chef mates are sitting out there expecting some wowzer food and what we're going to do with the pork, and we get very interesting with it.
Is there a bit of pressure involved in regards to creativity and coming up with something that perhaps people haven't seen, or do you delve into your past? Like, how do you approach it?
Yeah, so I take a little bit from stuff that I've done, and then I mostly try and do things that I haven't done. I've done a few of these events, so I like to keep it interesting for everyone. But my favourite thing is all the offal and stuff that I use, so I like getting creative with that.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you're doing on the menu. What are some of the dishes that you've created?
Yeah, so we're doing a... Sorry, excuse me.
That's all right.
We're doing a pig's ear, basically with some pear and some ginger.
Nice.
Like we're using the pig's ear as like the cracker, basically. My head chef at Ethos has made a blood pudding with an apple gastrique, which is going to be different. And then we've got a little donut with bacon, jam, goat cheese.
Wow.
And what's the other one?
Hang on, tell us a little bit about that bacon jam.
Yeah, so we get... When we make our bacon, we have all the offcuts and stuff, so we all cut it all down and render it out, and then we cook it down with lots of spices, coffee, sugar, and turn it into this like jam. And then we usually have it on a toasty or something like that, but this time we're doing like a fresh donut with goat cheese and the bacon jam aside.
Wow.
Yeah.
I noticed, thanks to the world of social media, that you've been working on this menu for days leading up to this event.
I have.
Take us back over the last couple of days. What's some of the processes involved to create what you're doing?
Yeah, so we've got pig's heads as well, which we made porchetta de testa. So we boned those out and put them on a cure, rolled them and steamed them off. And I was making a dressing yesterday out of smoked pork fat. So on Saturday nights we put loads of pork shoulders in our wood oven, and then Sundays we always do pork. Every Sunday at Young George there's pork on the menu. So all the rendered fat comes off that and we keep it all. So I just basically washed vinegar with the pork fat.
Wow.
Same way as you'd make a bacon bourbon cocktail or something like that. Basically you wash the liquor with the fat and it infuses into the actual liquor. So I did that for the vinaigrette. And I also made pork butter. So I minced down pork fat. Yeah, so all the pork fat we mince down, and then just basically whip it with some garlic and lemon zest and thyme, and it comes out like really beautiful spreadable butter.
That's extraordinary.
Tastes porky, but it's not too porky. It's just like delicious.
Well, what sort of pork is important for what you're doing with it? You know, do you have any stories of the farmer or the pork that you need to be able to do what you do? Yeah,
so I use a lot of different supply for different things. When I'm working nose to tail, I do actually buy Evans pigs off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Ev's pigs are probably featuring on tonight's charcuterie list because I've just bought... Well, my last one was a few weeks ago, but yeah, so I buy Ev's pigs and make charcuterie out of all that. So there'll be a bit of that on the menu today. Black Label Berkshire I use for certain charcuterie as well, and then Lindley Valley pork as well as a main staple because they can supply me with volume. So yeah, they're the three suppliers that I generally use.
How do you go about creating a menu for an event like this? You're working with other chefs. Like, how do you decide who does what and who looks after sort of, and also getting that sort of good flow through a menu as well? Yeah, so I mean, I guess like I got approached by Kylie to put this event on as a liaison for her because she's in Sydney. So I basically set up the menu structure. I gave the boys the entrees and main courses because I've done that many times. So we just took snacks and showcased the charcuterie. And then I just basically got the boys to talk about what they wanted to do, and everything's pork. So
we start off with a bit lighter stuff, so snacks. Then the charcuterie down the table with some nice bread, and then Ev's got a really beautiful dish with lonza that he actually makes out of his pigs, and then Guy's got like a bit of a meatball deal going on with his corn polenta, and then flowing into like the heavier sort of stuff with pork collar, and the big bang is the porchetta, so the big porchetta.
Yes.
And then a pork dessert.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hear more about the pork dessert a bit later. But pork aside, what do you love about these events, and why are they so important?
Oh, we get to showcase food, our own food. We get to be creative and be creative amongst our peers, which is awesome. And it's just fun working with other chefs, and hanging out with them afterwards is probably the best deal. We've got a glass of wine in our hand. I just love the camaraderie of these kind of events with lots of different people and different chefs of different levels, it all coming together and experiencing what we're putting out there.
Well, we're going to hang out in the kitchen a little bit later. I look forward to enjoying the creations that you come up with. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Huck.
Evan Hayter, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, Huck.
We just had a great chat with Melissa telling us about sort of what's going on tonight. But what's it like for you doing an event like this where you'd normally be cooking for consumers, but you're cooking for chefs?
I guess it's a little bit different. It's pretty exciting to cook for the peers in the industry. I don't get up to the city that often. That being said, I've been up a few times the last couple of months, but I've got my favourite restaurants that I eat at, and I tend to just come up to the city, do what I need to do, go and have a meal or two, and not catch up with enough people. So tonight, to cook for the industry will be perfect. There'll be a load of people in the room that I haven't seen in a long time, and good to talk a bit of junk with, I guess.
Do you treat the sort of dish creation differently than you might at the restaurant for something like this?
To be honest, no. We're very produce driven in our restaurant, so it's all about the seasonal availability of whatever it is that we're doing at that point in time. And running a small kitchen, we don't really have the time to sort of do side hustle jobs, I guess, or
sure.
We're busy enough running the farm and everything else. So a lot of the prep tonight is things that are on our menu at the moment. We're doing an entree and a main, so there's a couple of things on there that we will be putting on the menu this coming week that haven't been on there, so that's different, I guess. But other than that, not too different.
You're in a very different situation to many chefs. You're growing your own pigs, and in fact Melissa's using your pigs as well for some of the dishes tonight. Tell us about your pigs and the life that they have, and why they're so good for what you do.
Yeah, as we discussed on your podcast, I got my pigs to help with a noxious invasive weed, and managed to get pork out of that. So I think it kind of led to a deeper knowledge of the industry, and so I really wanted to do something that was quite a bit different, and it's translated in the quality of the meat. So the produce itself actually tastes so much better when the animal's looked after. So from that point of view, as soon as you start down that road, it's you can't substitute. You have to do it that way from now on and do it better and better and better. In the case of Melissa, I'm quite particular as to who gets my pork, because there's not that much of it. So that sounded awful.
That's a good rap on her.
Yeah. Melissa's getting my pork. She'll be stoked. So I mean, Melissa's incredible at everything that she does. She is tireless worker. Her and her partner Susan, they are inspiration in our industry. And so naturally Melissa can have anything she wants, basically, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So so she buys a couple of pigs every year, and like her charcuterie and approach to it is second to none in Western Australia. I mean, she's very thorough about it and is always wanting to be better at it. So I know that she's looking after the animal itself when she gets hold of it. So
tell us about the dishes that you're cooking.
So tonight we've got a entree and then a main course. So the entree is a little cured lonza, so a little loin that's been rolled in saved coriander and fennel seeds, so from the garden as well. So the pigs are born, growing, and utilised on the property itself, and the garden produces the coriander and the fennel seed that's gone into the crust of it, I guess. So it speaks of place, I guess.
Beautiful. And
so we're going to be serving that with some, again, seed-saved mustard seeds, which we've sprouted. So a little bit of a salad, a bit of a play on a carpaccio, I guess we're going to go with the lonza. So slice that thin. We've got some dried beetroots that we've grown, roasted, and then dehydrated. So they're quite chewy. Just to give that little bit more texture to the salad. And then there's some oxidised apples, so black apple dressing going with that as well.
Wow. Tell us about putting the menu together. Is it hard when you've got other chefs and you've got such a long menu to do?
It could be, I guess. I'm cooking with two very like-minded chefs tonight. Guy and Melissa both approach their food the same way I do. Well, it's probably the other way around. I approach my food the way I do because of inspiring chefs like those guys, and I've learnt so much. So we already have a really good synergy. But that being said, we're good friends, and so we just texted each other and was like, "What are you doing? What are you using?" Guy texted me yesterday just to make sure that I wasn't using something, or he wanted to use something, and he just wanted to make sure I wasn't using it. So, our food is truly seasonal and what's in front of us at the time. We think we're very lucky to be able to do that.
Pork aside, for an event like this, how important is this event for you guys? Highlighting good quality produce, for sure. It's extremely important. But to bring hospitality together, there's not enough events like this. And somehow these guys at PorkStars managed to do that. And they do it Australia-wide. Like, I know people all over Australia who have either been PorkStars or been to a PorkStars event, and they just speak so highly. I've never heard anyone speak poorly of it. Like, it's always a great night. So I'm quite excited to be part of it, and really humbled. Well, Evan, look forward to enjoying your creations this evening. Thanks for catching up with us.
Mate, absolute pleasure, and lovely to meet you in person, Huck.
Guy Jeffreys. We just had a great chat with Evan and Melissa. What's it like working with them?
I've known those guys for years, and we're good mates out of work, as well as done a lot of events together. I did an event with Mel last week, I think, down south. Evan's a good mate. Whenever I'm down in Margaret River, we're always hanging out and having a couple of brews and a bottle of wine. And we've done. Actually, Mel and I did an epic event down at Evans.
Oh wow!
A couple of years, just coming out of COVID, when we were allowed to reopen again. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Are there benefits to having such a strong relationship when you're trying to put together a big menu for an event like this?
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to double up. I mean, oh shit, hang on, we're all using pork. Oh. But apart from that, we don't want to double up on ingredients and everything, and we've all got our own style, so it's not that we're going to really be crossing those sort of paths with each other. But we both don't want to use broccoli, for example. I mean, we're all very seasonal chefs, and so, at the moment there's lots of, broccoli and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So as long as we're not all putting that on as a side or something, but we all have our own styles, and but I think that they all work together. We'll see tonight.
Yeah, we'll find out a bit later. Tell us a little bit about the dishes that you created for tonight.
What are we doing? So I've just gone like I always do, super homely. Just, comfort food. It's pretty cold, blustery night out there tonight, so I think the dishes I've chosen are suiting the weather pretty well. So obviously we've got pork. I'm doing an entree, and our entree is some Berkshire pork mince that's been made, spiced up into a sausage mince, and then we're just going to do some real rough, like, meatballs, and then serving that with some corn from our garden, to like a mountain corn that we're going to make polenta from later.
Wow.
And then we got so much lettuce at the moment, so I've made like a cooked lettuce, braised lettuce sort of sauce. And hopefully that tastes good. And main course, once again, super homely. Porchetta. So we've got these beautiful. So Linton from Black Label Berkshire. Yeah. He's supplied all the pork for us tonight for my courses, and he also supplies our restaurant every week for the last 4 or 5 years. So we've got the midsections and we've boned them out. Just put a little rub on there of just basic like hard herbs and stuff, and then rolled it up into a porchetta. I'm about to put them into the oven when I finish talking to you.
Wow!
Hopefully they come out nice and crackly and perfect. Rest out just before the guests arrive, and serving that with baked beans. So my favourite winter, some homegrown Bilotti beans. Hopefully that's good. And then I've been lobbed with dessert as well.
How have you taken on that challenge?
Yeah, not lightly. Pork dessert. So we put our thinking caps on, and we thought about Chianti butter. So when you render the fat and then you whip it, you add savoury flavours to it, but it looks like meringue. So we had a play, and we made some. We just blitzed up some vanilla sugar and made like a what am I trying to say? Just a like this really fine sugar, and put with a bit of spice in there, and we whipped that through the fat, and it has come out. I tried it on a few of my staff yesterday. They did not pick it for pork fat.
Wow.
They thought it was meringue. And then all the crunchy bits from rendering, like all the bits of minced fat, we just really, really cooked that, and then put a bit of ginger and cinnamon through, and it's sort of like this biscuity crumb. There you go. That's what we're doing.
What's so great about the pork that you're using? You said that they supply your restaurant as well. What's so important about the pork that comes through the door for you?
It's just such a great product. It's always got really good fat to it. It's so tasty. Like we do nothing to it. We just bit of olive oil, bit of salt, and we roast it, or we'll grill it, depending, because we get like the whole animal in. So it depends on what cut we're cooking, but we don't have to do anything to it. There's, a lot of people will brine their pork and do stuff, but like this is just some of the most sensational pork and consistently sensational.
Is there challenges cooking for chefs and the industry compared to consumers?
Not really. I've been doing this for a while. I know probably half the room out there, and I've cooked for them before. So I suppose there's a little bit of pressure, because you don't want to stuff up because you look like a dickhead. But hopefully I don't stuff up. But I think that's the same as when I'm cooking for a customer every day as well.
What do you love about an event like this?
Oh, just everyone coming together. It's been such a hard time in hospo, obviously everywhere. But our tight little knit WA Perth southwest community, we all know each other, and we're it's different over east with you guys. Like, you guys have had it, it's been happening for a while. We're actually right in the thick of it at the moment. So like I had to shut the restaurant last week because half the staff are out on COVID, and we've really WA's only really experienced this COVID thing for the last few months, and it's really hitting now. So I think tonight is a great celebration for our whole industry to be able to get out and about.
Guy, it's going to be a great evening. Really looking forward to seeing the creations and the celebration. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having the chat. Cheers, Huck.
So I'm in the kitchen with Melissa. What are you doing at the moment?
I'm plating up a bacon jam and goat cheese donut.
Wow. Have you had one yet?
I have. I've eaten them many times in a larger format. They're very filling and they're very rich, but they're absolutely... Would you like to try one?
Yeah, sure.
I reckon you should definitely get it.
All right, well, hang on.
Your lips around that one.
Okay, well...
Just put the whole thing in your mouth. Yep. Don't choke. Don't choke, Huck.
Wow. I think you need to talk because I've got a mouthful at the moment. You're also plating up some pig's ears. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so we've got some pig's ear, which we've rolled. We've cooked down in a master stock. We've rolled, frozen, sliced, dehydrated, puffed. So that's the cracker. And then we've got some barrel-aged feta, some pear and some pickled ginger.
How do you get the idea for something like this?
I don't know, it just comes out of this mad brain of mine. you like to try one of those too?
Yeah, well, why not?
You're going to have to, yeah. There you go.
All right. So what's it like in the kitchen at the moment? You got a few hands doing things.
Yeah, we're pretty calm. We're looking pretty good. We're just we've got 30 minutes to go before showtime. We're just getting the canapes, which are quite fiddly, together, and yeah, we're ready to rock. Really.
Has it all gone a bit too smoothly? Like, what's the feeling here? Is it when you do these big events, things can go wrong, but has everything been pretty smooth?
Everything's been absolutely smooth, mate. I've got this.
Of course you do. Amazing.
I've got it because I've got all these people around me helping me.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Melissa.
No worries. Cool.
So, Evan, we're outside on the barbecue. What are you doing out here?
Just searing off the cabbage, which is going to sit underneath the pork collar. That will also char off on the barbecue, just finish it off.
So the pork collar, tell us a bit about how you've cooked that and why you're sealing it sort of just towards the end before you serve it.
Yeah, so back down south, down at Aramea and Margaret River, we brine the pork collar for overnight, I think it was, at 1.5% overnight, and then we've taken it out, cooked it in the oven at about 62 degrees for about 6 hours, and then we've brought it up here and we've put it back into the oven at 62 degrees, and just sort of a dry roast on it, and like a dry, slow roast, and then we just sear it off at the end.
How are you loving the elements out here? It's not exactly barbecue weather. It's pretty bloody windy and chefs are turning up. Are you happy about being out here at the moment?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, the barbecue hasn't blown out at the moment. It's holding pretty good heat. So far, so good. But yeah, we are looking like we might get blown away tonight. But it's good. As soon as this place fills up, it's going to be amazing. All the chefs, and no one really cares on a Monday night. We'll have a few beers and cook some barbecue, and it's going to be a good night.
Amazing, mate. Look forward to seeing what ends up on the plate. Thanks again.
No worries.
So, Guy, we're back at house here. There's a lot of porchetta. How many porchetta have we got?
So we've got 7 porchettas in the oven at the moment, well, in the 2 ovens. So they came off of some pigs from Linton, some Black Label Berkshire, about 50 kilo dressed pigs.
Wow. That's a lot of pork. Like, yeah. How many people does that feed?
Well, we've got 100 hungry hospos. That's like a game, isn't it?
It does sound like a game.
So yeah, don't want to soak up a bit of the booze that they're drinking. Hopefully a little bit left for us as well.
Yeah. What's the secret to a great porchetta? Getting the meat right and the crackling right.
Well, we hung it was on the hook for a week before we even thought about taking it off the bone and then rolling it. So yeah, it hung whole for a few days, and then we hung it for about another 6 days as the midsection, and then took it off the bone, put a little herb rub on the inside, and then rolled it up, and generous chef's pinch of salt, and into the oven for about 2.5 hours.
Well, you've been working your ass off all day while I've been swanning about a bit in and out, but how are you feeling? All ready to go?
Yeah, well, as soon as I know that the pork's hit temp and the crackle's all good, and just worrying about my polenta over here thickening up, and yeah, should be all good.
Awesome, mate. Thanks.
Thanks, Huck.
Kylie Roberts, yes, you organise all of these incredible PorkStar dinners that happen across the country. Why do you do them?
To celebrate the beast mainly, the beautiful beast of the pig, but really it's to bring the industry together and learn and meet and live with their talent and try and explore and spread their messages of all the cool stuff they're doing.
The connections that you're making with all the industry at the moment, how important are those connections for you?
Oh, for me personally, we've got lots of friends and things like that, but overall I think for the pig farmers, it's really imperative for chefs to understand what the farmer's trying to do, and that's really all we're trying to do, is make the connection. Well, it's incredible what you're doing, and what an amazing event. Thank you. Cheers.
This is The Crackling, a Deep in the Weeds production in partnership with PorkStar. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we catch up with some of Australia's best chefs and pork producers to discover what makes Australian pork so special.